And we welcome in those of you who just watched a horrific 49ers game. Welcome in. Yikes. Hey now, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome into the Pucknologists, episode 150. Who the hell thought we'd ever get this far? Right?
Not me.
So, welcome to our unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, and commercial-free Sharks podcast. That is the Pucknologists here in Teal Town, USA. We are 3 games in for this week. Sharks went 1, and guess what? Won during those games. We're going to get into those. The EKs make some news again. We got, is Remenda back for Han? Back with Han, I should say, for good? I don't know. James Reimer bringing the rain this week, and someone at some point is going to win $5. I kid you not. But after that, there'll be much more. First, hey, remember to subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you'd like to help support the content we deliver, you can donate using the Super Chat option during them live shows, but we do prefer the Venmo option, and you can find us there at Teal Town, USA. Drop a little something in our tip jar. We totally appreciate that support. And if you're not watching live on YouTube, make sure to take your comment and throw it in that comment section of the video below. So with that, let's get into it. And oh boy, look at that jerk. He's counting on that $5, isn't he?
I mean, I only have one more chance to get it, but I'm hoping.
Oh boy, how confident were you going into this? And now, where's your confidence level?
Dude, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little hot at the Sharks right now because Pittsburgh, Seattle, Florida, Carolina. These are 4 games the Sharks lost during our wager that they were in position to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the universe doesn't want me to take $5 from you.
It's so odd.
Now, when the Sharks beat Tampa Bay 3-0 on Tuesday, it's going to be a different story.
Can't wait for that.
Dude, if the Sharks
Are we going double or nothing?
I was going to say, obviously, if the Sharks win on Tuesday, I get the $5 and it's awesome. If the Sharks somehow shut out Tampa Bay, you can keep the $5. That's enough of a victory for me.
Okay. So let's get into it. 45 games into this season. Sharks are 22, 20, and 3. That means 47 points. With those 47 points, the Sharks, last I checked, it may have changed, but last I checked, Sharks 5th in the Pacific, 3rd in the wild card. Are both of those correct right now, or have they changed?
The division is correct. The wild card is incorrect. They are now 4th in the wild card.
Why am I not shocked? Okay.
Because your new favorite team, Dallas, won.
Oh, that's right. So, not my favorite team, just a favorite player involved. Calgary leapfrogged the Sharks on both of those, of course. But again, if you go by points percentage, Sharks are 6th in the division, 5th in the wild card, although they may have dropped to 6th now because of the Dallas win. So, look. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10, but 1-3-1 in their last 5. And by some bizarre happenstance, over the last 3 weeks, every week it's been Groundhog Day. Win 1, lose 2. You look at the last 9 games over the 3 weeks. Win 1, lose 2. So, how'd I do on the predictions? Well, what a fucking shock. I went 2-3. Because I said they were going to all be losses.
Jesus.
So, I'm just saying, through 45 games, I had them at 22 and 23, and they're at 22, 20, and 3. I don't know that you can get much closer than that. We're framing this sheet, dude. We're framing this.
Yeah, dude, you're going to...
This is going to be on a T-shirt, dude. This sheet is going to be on a T-shirt at some point.
Yeah, take down that Barclay Goodrow picture and get the sheet up there.
Yeah. So what we take away from this week's game? Well, look, Sharks find a 4-1 victory as a lot of guys seem to get off the schneid. In Florida, you get a little bit more depth scoring, but the Sharks eventually run out of gas after being up 3-1. That takes you to Carolina. Very good defensive game, but could not find a second goal with two hands, a map, and ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's start. Washington game. It's a Schneid game. They get revenge for a 4-0 loss, but Gregor gets off the Schneid. Dahlen, your boy.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Dahlen was listening to the podcast. He was like, you know what? I'm tired of these guys talking about me, because we've been talking about it for weeks. 1 goal in 17, 1 goal in 21, 1 goal in 23. It's like he finally got sick of it, and good timing.
Yeah. And then the weird thing about this too is that Balsers was a last-minute scratch in this.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucked. But
you know what's funny is, so I was looking at the stats. Balsers he's got 4 points in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's in our stock up later, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, playing really well, but poor guy is just having to put up with all kinds of BS left and right. He's the late scratch. Then he got banged up in the game against Florida. It's like, hasn't he been through enough this year?
Dude,
he's scoring and it's not enough.
You should have saw him on the media call after today's game for Carolina. He was very matter of fact, man. They're like, so how you feeling out there? First COVID, and he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, body still feels a little bit from the COVID, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, like, get me to my own bed, please.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Tired of the hotel life.
Good news, of course, though. Milosh getting that first NHL goal, so file under things you love to see. And
Shout out.
10 guys make the score sheet versus Washington. You don't see that very often. And Reimer with the 970.
Beautiful.
Things you love to see. So, move on to Florida. Reimer, of course, starting again because Hill's out. This is the first time the Sharks face a team with Jumbo on their roster since November 6, 2003, 18 years ago.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
If memory serves, I thought they were saying that there was somebody, there was some reference during the game where it was like, yeah, and by the way, when Joe Thornton played his first game, one of the guys that he's facing today hadn't been born yet.
Yeah. It was Anton Lundell.
Oh,
who, for those who don't know, Anton Lundell was born in 2002.
Jeez. So the Florida game, I mean, you had to like it just simply because it was like, wait a minute, we're up 3-1 and I shouldn't say we, I hate that. We were not up. The Sharks, the team we root for, was up 3-1 on essentially the best team in the NHL. You've got Hurdle with a give and go from Balsers, but of course okay, let's finish this up. Bonino to Gregor to Dahlen with Weatherby screening on and a power play. You get a couple power plays, but of course the bad news in this one is you get Ferraro taking a puck to the grill very early in the game, like first 5 minutes. So Sharks have to roll 5D. Balsers is out for the majority of the third, so you have to roll 11 forwards for the final period. Dude, for me, the thing that kind of sticks in my craw a little bit with this game, because they were pretty good that first half. Man, it seems like Burns was just victimized in different parts of this game, and then if that was enough, Boughner goes, really? You played the most minutes ever? Hey, why don't you start on OT?
I mean,
while your legs are jello.
Yeah, like Burns was obviously gassed by the end of this game. I mean, he played for almost 34 minutes. I don't think that goes, without saying. But it's like, I understand like Burns with Karlsson out, with Merkley scratched for some reason, and we're gonna get to that obviously during stock down as well. But like, you're relying a lot on Burns. Like, I think it's okay. Like, you look at who's left on the list, but it's like, I think if you have to start OT with Magna or Vlasic, I think it's fine. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's fine. You know what I mean?
I don't have any problem starting with 3 forwards.
That too. Yeah. Just they were running, towards the end of regulation, they were they were doing Meyer, Hurdle, Couture loading up the top line. Just do that again.
Right?
Or, hey, Jonathan Dahlen had 2 goals. Maybe start him.
Well, as much as we can shit on Burns for this game because he gets stripped along the boards, ends up on Forsling's stick, who buries it. When Huberdeau tied it, Burns is like caught looking, spinning, not sure what the hell's going on. Sneaks in during OT. And then can we talk about Barkov faking the Michigan for a minute? Are you serious?
Yeah, that was greasy. That was really greasy.
Dude, that's intelligent hockey right there.
And you know what? I'm looking right now, and I didn't realize this until just right here, right now. We may have to start this as a segment, the jam job of the game.
I like
now,
it.
Granted, the power play was 2 for 2 in this game, so maybe what I'm saying doesn't really matter. But you know how much time Balcers had on the power play in this game?
I'm going to say 0.
Yeah.
How?
What the hell?
Yeah. Makes no sense. Like you said,
Every
scored in his last 4 straight games.
Yeah. Nieto, Gadjevich, Cogliano had no power play time. Makes sense. Cogliano and Nieto are your PK guys. Gadjevich is your punch him in the face guy.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable. Why at the very I just don't understand why Weatherby and Bonino are on the power play over Balcers. Like, if it's a situation where you need somebody who can win faceoffs, split up Hurdle and Couture. Like, there's no reason Balcers shouldn't be on the power play.
I don't know if that's a case of Boughner like trying to get a guy who's still maybe dealing with slight effects from COVID, like still like helping him, but it's like, well, come on, man.
You know how much, looking at the Carolina game, you want to know how much time Balcers had on the power play?
Was it the same?
3 seconds. And for reference, in the Carolina game, the power play was 0 for 2.
That's true.
Balcers scored in this game, and he had an assist against Florida, and he scored against the 2 previous teams the Sharks played against, prior to him getting injured, obviously, which was he scored against LA and he scored against Pittsburgh as well. And it's like, hey, guy is firing a little bit. Let's put him out there more.
That's what I'm saying.
You'd think, like, what is it because LeBanc is gone, so there needs a new punching bag?
God, I would hope not. Good
kind
Lord.
of what it feels like.
Can we make Peterson the punching bag? Can we put the target on him, please?
Like I said, dude, jam job of the week.
You're not wrong, sir. Stick taps to Weatherby, of course, in this one. Dude was sitting at his fat ass was a big part of why the Sharks were perfect on the power play. And so what does Bob do in the next game? Scratch him.
I will say I'm not like scratching Weatherby. That's not the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's not.
But what's the issue that I have is who replaced him?
Who?
Lane Peterson.
Yeah.
Lane Peterson, the guy who has played 22 games, has 2 assists, -10.
Ugh.
That's who you want out there? Like, and I know, shout out to a couple of the people on Twitter who've been talking about it. When are we going to get the next batch of Barracuda call-ups? When is John Leonard going to get a twirl? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been awesome with the Barracuda lately. I believe he's got 7 points in his last 8 games or something greasy. Like, it's insane. And it's like, when is this guy going to get a chance?
Scott Reedy going to get another look? I mean, who knows?
Joachim Blichfeld? Like,
oh, true. Well,
it's just
some of these guys, if memory serves, were actually part of the taxi squad. I don't know where the hell that's at this point, but
right now, and see, even like I don't feel like the Sharks have been utilizing the taxi squad a whole lot. The only guy on the taxi squad right now is Raska.
Yeah,
that's the only guy.
Well, look, this one again, Florida game. It was 3-1, and you're playing the best team in the league. You got out of there with the point. Would have been better if you could have, because the whole thing was at the beginning of this. Boughner was like talking about, well, this could be a boring game. We've got to play that real boring defense shutdown of hockey. And I forget who it was. Somebody tweeted where they're like, here's Boughner saying, shutdown defense, going to be boring, going to be slog. and the players go, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but what if we just like fucking ski job this all the way, just back and forth trading haymakers? But I mean, Reimer, dude,
beast, big as a house.
50 shots on goal the Sharks allowed. But look, I mean, I think you can. I'm not a big fan of moral victories, but I think you can kind of take one that you played the best team in the league. You hung tight with them. You got up on them early, 3-1, even though you're missing arguably your second best defenseman for almost the entire game.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate, especially like with the Florida game, right? Like the Sharks were up 2-0, 3-1, 4-2. Reimer, big as a house, and you squander it.
Well, here's the part that I'm thinking, like after today's game, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going back through these games and I'm like, okay, Capitals walked them. That was great. Florida, you like, again, 3-1, but you still took a point, but like you had the game in your hand. Then Carolina, which we'll get to in a second, but you only lose by one goal. And it's like, if you just could have manufactured something here, even if it goes to OT, but
Power play.
yeah, power play. But my whole thing is I'm like, Jerk's head must be exploding over the $5 bet right now. I'm like,
yeah,
we could have won every fucking game this week.
That's what I'm saying. For a reminder, the $5 bet covers the 8 games from Pittsburgh to Tampa Bay on Tuesday. The Sharks have won 2 of those games. The 5 that they lost, except against Tampa, 4 of the 5 they've lost, they were in there.
Yeah.
And that's what makes my head spin, right? But like, I think today's game, Carolina, I think the Sharks, unfortunately, even though they played well to start, I think they were just happy to be there in the third period. You know what I mean? Like, it was tied, and they're feeling like, okay, we get a bounce and we're in there, right? And Svechnikov, he kind of get the lame goal, that ends up being the winner.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seemed to me, and maybe it's fatigue, right? This road trip has gone on for a while. Maybe, I don't know. It just seemed like the Sharks, were never where the passes were.
Yeah.
Like, I found myself saying multiple times during the third period, who's there? Who's there? Because somebody would pass and
people
no one's there.
People are asking you
to the bench.
Knock jokes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who is there? Who is going to get the puck? Nobody. And you want to see something on the power play? Like I said, Rudolph Balcers in his 3 seconds. I bet he could do more.
I would think so. I mean, so Carolina, Reimer, gets his 4th straight start. Canes are 7-2-1 over their last 10, top of the Metro. Beat New Jersey yesterday 2-1. So both teams played yesterday. Of course, the Sharks had to travel, but that neutral zone turnover that led to the Trocheck goal, that hurt. And then you got Vlasic. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, backing up rather than challenging.
There's a lot of that going on lately.
Yeah, and then the Sharks say, okay, not the best first period. We can probably do better. And then they're like, hey, how about just 4 shots on goal? It's not quantity, it's quality, boys.
Dude, I'm okay. I feel like I feel like this is going to be beating a dead horse, but
I just talk about Pavelski.
No. I just looked at the stats right now. So Balcers has 13 points this year. 12 of them are even strength. So that, like, okay, he scores at 5 versus 5. That's awesome.
Yeah,
where's
last I
he
looked,
at if
you
he's
do
on the
need
power
that.
play?
Yeah, last I looked,
where's he at? Is he on the power play? Like, if he what I know, like, this can obviously be something we talk about more in depth later on, but like, where are the Sharks if a player like Balcers is on the power play? Makes you think.
Mm-hmm. So, Sharks today versus Carolina. Last game of the week. Power play 0 for 2. PK 2 for 2. But again, the Hurricanes #1 PK. So, okay, but like Jerk is saying, would have been nice to see Balcers out there. And then the line of the game for me, and we'll get to this in a hot minute. Brett Hedican, dude, literally said when they announced the lines, and it's like, well, Peterson's going in for Weatherby, and what was it, VL for Gadjevic, and And then, of course, Merkley slots in because of the injury to Ferraro. Henniken's on there. Good on Bob for getting a couple of fresh bodies in there. And it's like, there was no choice with Ferraro. He's injured. And then, dude, Weatherby only played 10 minutes the game before. Gadjevich only played 750. But okay for saying that. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it was a kiss-ass remark, but I'm just looking at that and I'm going, looking back at the numbers that you just cited for Peterson and juxtapose that with what Weatherby did in Florida, and I'm going, how do you not call that out? But it's because you're state media.
Right, and like I said, I don't hate scratching Weatherby, but the alternative is not even close to being equal, right?
Yeah, that's the part that I didn't get. Like,
and
if Weatherby had, it was a 5-4 loss, right, to Florida. If Weatherby had finished that game like -4, I would have been like, yeah, fuck that guy. But it was dude, he was part of the 2 power play goals. What are you doing?
And the other thing that kind of killed me, and I don't necessarily blame Henniken for this specifically. I think it's a product of the environment. But I noticed, so when the Sharks were down 1-0 in the game against the Hurricanes, Balsers. I got him on the mic.
Dude, you're obsessed with Balsers. I've never heard anybody talk about Balsers so much in my life.
Well, I had it first, but whatever.
Because that's a huge thing.
Right. Ryan Merkley, he's, say whatever you want to say about, pulling the razzle-dazzle move when you're down, but, like, guy is trying, as an offensively minded defenseman, he's trying to help the Sharks get offense. And Henniken says, well, I don't know that I like what Merkley is doing there, blah, 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 whatever he said, very like, oh, I'm an old man. I don't like the razzle-dazzle.
let me yell at this cloud for a minute.
Yeah, and then, fast forward to Svechnikov's goal, and Burns, I don't know what the hell he was doing. And, Brett Henniken is like, oh, unfortunate mistake by Burns. And I'm like, no, it was not a mistake. Like, he just chose not to cover the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just like, can you, like, I hate the idea where it's like, oh, this guy's a rookie, so I'm obligated to bury him a little bit,
Completely.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Totally agree. Sharks beat the Canes back in November, oddly enough, by a score of 2-1 in overtime on goals from LeBanc, who? And an OT winner from Barabanov.
My guy.
Dude, when are they announcing the extension? I just gotta know.
Hopefully soon.
I'm saying it. So, look, takeaways for the week. What happened? First off, it starts off with, hey, we've lost EK65 for at least 2 months due to injury. I mean, can this guy ever stay healthy? Jesus Christ. Can we have one season with this guy that he plays, I don't know, at least 75 games? But what impact is this going to have on the Sharks and their ability to make the playoffs?
Depends on if Merkley keeps getting jam jobbed.
That is not a bad call.
Because we like we talked about last week, like you have in Merkley, you have a burgeoning star. A lot of people have made the Erik Karlsson comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like at this point the Sharks would be best suited to just say, you think you got it? Show it. And I threw it out on Twitter, you know what I mean, after the after the game against the Tampa Bay Lightning last week, I want to say it was. I just threw out a graphic of the time on ice, and I just said, jam job, because Burns, Šimik, Vlasic, Ferraro, Megna, all over 17 minutes, and Merkley was just over 12.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to get back to this Karlsson thing for a second, but I just noticed 2 things in the chat. First off, Dahlen for Calder. I'm sorry. Is it who's the kid who's like lighting it up that like almost like already has like the Calder in his back pocket?
Well, there's a couple of
Zegras?
Yeah, I think Zegras. Yeah, Zegras is a candidate, I would say. Lucas Raymond on the Red Wings. Moritz Seider on the Red Wings. Anton Lundell, who's on Florida.
Yeah, but Zegras is just getting all that. He's getting all the pub, baby.
Right. If the way Dahlen is playing now and the way he was playing before the end of November, if he was playing that same way between the end of November and like a week ago, yeah, I'd probably say so.
Yeah. Well, and there was a lot of talk about Meyer for the Hart after that LA game, and then it's like, oh, by the way, since that, Meyer has 1 goal in 5 games. But
well, you know what? 1 goal in 5 games, 5 goals in 1 game. I mean,
green jacket,
tornado,
gold jacket.
Yeah, tornado potato, right? Like,
Taco Cruiser, thank you very much for your donation. Asking, was Brent Burns better as a forward or defenseman? If Karlsson was healthy, what do you think of moving Burns back to forward? Well, this is a question that has been bandied about for centuries.
I have a better idea. What if Burns was moved to another team?
And Karlsson.
No, you shut your whore mouth.
Well, let me just say this. Oddly enough, the Sharks have a winning record without EK65 this season. They are 7-3-2 without him. And during that stretch, Burns does have a goal and 13 assists. Kind of interesting. Their record with EK65 in the lineup, 16-17. I'm not saying that to support an argument. I'm just saying these are the numbers. This is facts. These can't be disputed. I'm just saying. Without
I think there's more at play though.
Without EK65, 7-3-2, with him 16-17. Just saying.
I mean, it's. I mean, you're right. It's real, right? It's a thing that's happening.
It's happening.
But I'm not sure if it tells the whole story. Maybe it does, but I'm not sure.
But yeah, the whole idea of Burns back to forward, no, you're not going to move a guy who won a Norris Trophy.
Well, not only that, but a guy who scored more points playing defense.
Yeah, not going to happen. But it's still fun to mention.
Sure.
Don't look now, but Edmonton is no longer pissy. They've won 4 straight, and of course, Evander Kane scores his first goal in his first game. We're going to talk about him in just a little bit. Jerk, there are 17 games left until the trade deadline. 10 of those 17 are in the division. 9 of the first 13 are in the division. So if it goes well, if the Sharks are in a playoff spot, and they get, Hurdle to sign an extension, what else are the Sharks going to do? I mean, they're going to say, hey, Eklund, come on back.
I mean, if they sign Hurdle to an extension, I think it has to change the thinking a little bit, right? I think if you get Hurdle signed to an extension, you can't do, and when I'm referring to obviously next year, you can't do a 4th consecutive year of an AHL 4th line and a 4th line as your 3rd line. You need to build up.
Embrace the rebuild.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, that's not the podcast.
Okay. Well, let's just take it the way that we think it's going to go, or at least I think it's going to go. The Sharks don't do well enough, and so their schedule. If you break down the numbers, which I think it was Dom Luszczyzn on The Athletic did, broke it down, and the Sharks have for the second half of the season that we're into, they have the 5th hardest schedule, whereas nearly every other team gets tremendously easier. Like Anaheim's schedule, strength of schedule, they were slotted at like 5th or 6th, and for the first half, their second half of the season, they have like the 18th hardest schedule. Like wow. There's some significant changes, whereas the Sharks go from like 18th hardest to 5th. So stands to reason they're significantly out of the playoffs. Do you have to trade Hurdle? I mean, okay then. All
if Hurdle doesn't want to sign an extension, broom him.
Okay. And now if you make that move, is that not a tacit admission? Is that not the beginning of the rebuild? And if it finally is, do you look at other pieces to move? Do you look at, say, Meyer? Is he going to be as valuable as he ever is, or is he part of one of the pieces that you build around? What about Barabanov? Do the Sharks kick the can, or are they going to identify guys like Ferraro and Merkley and Eklund as the future and try to build around them?
I think it kind of depends. So if Barabanov, same thing as Hurdle, if Barabanov doesn't want to resign, broom him. And
bastard, we gave him a chance.
I know. And if keeping Meier, trading Meier, I think what we're seeing, the Timo Meier we've seen this season, I think this is real Timo Meier. I believe Timo Meier is an 85 to 95 point power forward. I've been saying it for 2 years. You know this. Nobody believed me.
Dude, shouting from the rooftops.
And I think what it depends, Meier, keep him, trade him. It depends on how close the Sharks think they are. If the Sharks think they're 1 year away or 2 years away, keep him. But if it's going to be 3+, say it with me, broom him.
Yeah. Well, if you're Doug Wilson, it seems like every year, oh, we're right here. Just a couple of small tweaks.
Yeah, I still think, like, you know, the big three, right, was Reimer / Hill, and then, but you know, third line center Bonino, and then the fourth line Cogliano. Yeah. That was the big three, right? I like all three of those moves. All three of them I love.
I like all three of those.
But it's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's like
they're still rolling out an AHL fourth line somehow.
Well, and not only that, it was kind of like you also have to, unfortunately, deal with the shit show that was Evander Kane.
Unfortunately. And now that that's gone, and whether it's the trade deadline this year or the draft trading period or free agency, with the Evander Kane anchor now gone and somebody else's problem, I wonder if that makes the Sharks more interested in trying to add a big piece, you know?
Now, at this point, the grievance is still filed, right? So
it's still pending, yeah.
Yeah, so the Sharks, you know, at this point aren't completely free and clear cap-wise. You know, the NHL, right, could make a decision where it's like, you still owe him a few bucks, but there's going to be some you're not free of the full $7.
Well, here's the thing, and this is a big if, but if it comes to a situation where, you know, the arbiter sees Evander Kane as being in the right, and there's some kind of cap penalty or whatever, Evander Kane will still be on Edmonton. That's not changing. And the Sharks are not going to get saddled with $7 million. I would be surprised if they, again, assuming they see in favor of Evander Kane, I would be surprised if the Sharks got saddled with more than $1 million.
There you go.
Maybe not at all. Maybe they just give him money and there's no cap implications. There's no precedent for that, but it could still happen.
Yeah, I want to see the Sharks be like, okay, settlement, here we go. Let's figure this out. Okay, we're going to give him like, I don't know, $10 million as long as we don't get dinged on the cap. We're fine.
I just think, I mean, we can get into it at another time, but just the way the NHL supports what the Sharks are doing, like I find it hard to believe, you know, I find it hard to believe the Sharks lose this case.
Yeah,
but
I would
whatever.
agree. I did hear, I saw something, there was a tweet, many people are saying, if you will, that Kane already lost his signing bonus because he bet on Calgary to win last night.
Jesus. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Is secondary scoring finally becoming a thing for the Sharks? Seems like
it.
Yeah, seems like it's
the module would indicate that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the trajectory is on the right path. It feels like, and finally, we might see the return of Middleton on Tuesday. That's a great thing. Because look, we're starting to run out of defensemen here, people, is what I'm saying.
And you know what's going to happen? We're going to see, we're going to be seeing Middleton Burns, unfortunately.
Yikes. Yeah,
which means, right. and we've seen it with Ferraro. The list is long. We've seen it with Ferraro. We've seen it with Joachim Ryan. We've seen it with Paul Martin. We've seen it with Radim Šimić. They play well, and then they get attached to Burns, and all of a sudden they're a black hole.
Yeah. Let's hit a couple in the chat. Our buddy Ian, if Kane wins the arbitration, the Sharks are going to get fucked. But
I'm not so sure about that.
I just can't see him winning.
Even if he wins, like maybe the cap implication is for a long period of time, but it's not a big number.
All right.
Or it theoretically wouldn't be a big number, I should say.
Taco Cruiser says, is Noah Gregor as bad as his stats show, or is he just very unlucky?
Very unlucky, and I think it's also a product. Like, I know he went so long without a goal while playing with Couture, but like those, like,
he didn't go Donskoy long. He just went long.
Not only that, but it's like it's playing Gregor with VL and Peterson or VL and Weatherby.
Yeah,
like,
that's not the move to get him looks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't help you. And we've been talking about this before. This is something I actually thought about last night. So
What do you got there? Thoughts?
And this will go with something you and I were talking about back in September. So let me bring you along here. So we've talked about
so long ago.
Right. We've talked about LeBanc. LeBanc is a guy who needs somebody to get the puck for him. Noah Gregor is a guy who needs people he can pass the puck to after he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's a fit there.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, hey, there's a Kevin Durant-sized hole here. One guy can fill it.
I'm wondering if you maybe put a defensively reliable center who can win faceoffs. I don't know, Nick Bonino between the two of them. That almost would look like our projected lines from 4 months ago.
Right? All right, so let's get to the stock up and stock down for this week. I mean, look, it's pretty fucking obvious. Nick Bonino, 4 assists this week. Guys are getting off the schneid. Dahlen, 3 goals and an assist this week, 2 from the power play variety. Rudy Balcers, 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 4 games. This is the guy who we do not slander in this house and have not. For a very, very long time, we've mentioned that. And then James Reimer. I mean, dude, the Sharks have allowed 112 shots on goal over their last 3 games, and Reimer posted a 970, then a 900, then a 931. That 900, hard for me to really hang on Reimer.
Considering he allowed 5 goals.
Yeah, just because, the Sharks just completely imploded in the second half of that Florida game. But, dude, nice. And give it up to the guy. He posts a 931 on the second game of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Humpty Dumpty has been put back together, to quote him in the presser today.
To quote himself, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Chief, I don't... How old is James Reimer? Is he like 34 or something?
He is...
I mean, I got to know this because I know Hill's a younger guy. He's like, what, 25 or something?
James Reimer is going to be 34 in March.
See? So there you go. And if you look at him in the media sessions, post-game, the dude, cool as a cucumber. No matter what, it's like if he throws up an 850, he gets fucking shellacked. Remember the Tampa game? Gets shelled. Fine, and then if he throws a 970 versus Washington, the same guy either way, and just like cool as a cucumber, and he's like, hey, I'm just here to. Dude, for me, I don't care that the Sharks gave up a second to get Aiden Hill, and he's supposed to be the future, but no, dude, I'm digging me some James Reimer. I wouldn't mind at all. I don't know about you. Maybe Reimer is the guy that you think about post NHL career to join your coaching staff. Maybe that's the guy that you have coaching the Barracuda goalies.
Maybe. I mean, it all depends on what he wants, right? Like, because some guys, they're not built for that, right?
Sure. Some people didn't think Nabby was.
Right. But if it's something that he would be interested in, like, yeah, I'm all for it. He, aside from the goaltending thing, like, he just seems like a very pleasant and positive guy no matter what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. This is a guy that makes sure you get home safe after you've had 1 beer.
Right. Right. And it's funny. So, you asked me how old Reimer was. I said, "Oh, James Reimer is 33." I was waiting for the comment where it's like, "Wow, another old player the Sharks have overpaid." And then you look at Cap Friendly and it's over it's just $2 million.
Yeah, for 1 more year.
Yeah.
You're right. Oh, and I love Logan in the chat. The banhammer will fall for those who slander Rudy in this house. Absolutely.
Dude, as soon as the Sharks claimed him off of waivers a year ago, like, that was it right there. It was like, I don't want to hear it. Everybody's hating on this guy, and I'm going to tell you why you're dumb.
All right, let's move to stock down. Real quick, look, not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but look, we have to take note when shit happens.
You should read the stock down list in reverse order because I feel like that's the
way I'm going.
Cool.
Timo Meier, we talked about you earlier, but like I mentioned, 1 goal in 5 games since LA. 1 goal.
He'll get back.
I think he will. The more
All-Star break's going to be nice for him.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to go there and he's like, oh, everybody look how big my dick is. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fantastic. And then he gets to take, a week and a half off. Logan Couture is the one that frightens me a little bit more. No goals in the last 8 games. And Couture has proven himself, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that when a game is on the line, this dude wants the puck on his stick.
Right.
And there have been some games today, 2-1 loss, yesterday, the whole Florida thing, and it goes to overtime. Like, this is a guy who usually wants the puck on his stick when it matters most. No goals in 8 games has to be a little troubling for him.
I think, and that's not to, Couture definitely, I think, deserves some questioning here. And he'd be the first to tell you, he's like, yeah, he would be the first to say, yeah, I need to be better. But I wonder, too, because think about who his line mates have been that 8-game stretch.
Well, they keep changing.
Ice cold, right? But for the most part, it's been ice cold Dahlen and ice cold Gregor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not to say that Couture's problems are because of somebody else, but it certainly doesn't help.
But there have been, there's been times though. I believe, like towards the end of the Florida game or whatever, it was like Hertl, Couture, Meier, throw them out there.
Right, and Balcers was with Couture for, I want to say, at least at some point in today's game. Barabanov was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, Marty T coming in hot. Let's see
I already
here.
saw it. I don't want to answer it.
Wouldn't today's game have been better if we had an elite tipper like Pavelski?
Next question.
I will answer. Yes. So finally, stock down, and I think we both very much agree on this. Jam job,
Bobby.
Dude,
Bobby.
let me count the ways. I mean, you're scratching Merkley for whatever reason with EK out. You're putting
because here, and I saw shout out to I don't remember who did it, but they said on Twitter, like, how dare an offensive defenseman try to generate offense in a game that you're losing by 4?
Like, how? Why would you ever expect that?
Yeah, it was JD. Shout out to JD. A solid tweet.
Nice.
Like, it just
JD who?
JD from Locked On, from the other show.
Oh, good.
The other guys.
No.
Shout out to JD.
Dude, solid tweet, man.
Yeah.
Boughner, for putting Peterson back in over Weatherby. Like we said, Jasper, huge for a flagging PP, and you're really going to do that. Then, like we mentioned earlier, skating Burns to start OT versus Florida. Yikes. And then, you could sit there and maybe say, even going with Reimer versus Carolina after he had faced 50 shots on goal the day before. But you know what, though? To me, I think it would have been the better play. Let's be honest. You think Sawchenko would have been as good today?
Well, and it goes. You know what? It goes even further than that. No Balcers on the power play.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, dude, keep counting, my brother. Keep counting.
No Balcers on the power play. Keeping Bonino and Weatherby on the power play. No LeBanc in the top 6 when he was healthy. Not playing Reimer earlier in the season when he was clearly the better goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I've been a staunch defender of Bob since he's taken over the head coach, but this year it's just felt like one blunder after another.
Well, dude, let's be honest. For the most part, we've been pretty. We're not kissing ass, but I think we've been pretty fair with our Boughner's, where we've rated him. And I think we've given him more than enough cookies. I've definitely been one of the people that have sat there and said, I don't know that Boughner gets enough credit for bringing this group together. And again, it was 2 years ago. Have to take over middle of the season for DeBoer, get strapped with a coaching staff you did not pick. Then the next year have to do your entire preseason and play, 12 of 14 in Arizona. Like, these are not circumstances by which you would want to start your coaching gig. So this season, He finally, has his staff in place, aside from the slapdick who pulled the ripcord because he didn't want to wear a mask or whatever. But he has his coaching staff in place. They have a great training camp. You were able to.
They're in their own building.
Yeah, in their own building. Evander Kane was evidently a huge distraction. They didn't have to deal with him all of training camp. And how many times do we talk about games early in this season where afterwards we're going, you know what? Last year, that's a game the Sharks lose. They don't come back from that. They're waving a white flag after the first period.
Right.
But they, Boughner, I don't know, gets enough credit for bringing the group together. But on the flip side of that, you've got to, it's like you can't praise with what's Drew's line? How can I be expected to praise with any credibility if I can't honestly critique? And look, Boughner has made some really questionable decisions, particularly over the last couple weeks. So I think what we're trying to say is put Balsers on the fucking power play, Bob.
I mean, that's a start. And God, when LeBanc is healthy, put him in the top 6.
Just saying. So let's move on to the stats. We'll blow through these really quick. We're talking about some of these special teams numbers. Last 5 games for the Sharks, they're 3 for 13 on the power play. Decent. You would like it to be a little bit better, but decent. Remember, 2 of those coming courtesy of Weatherby's fat ass and Jonathan Dahlen. On the PK, 10 of 11. Pretty goddamn solid this week in the 3 games. Power play, again, 2 for 6. Both of those Dahlen goals coming against Florida. PK, perfect, 6 for 6. So, on the whole, the power play could use some help. It's kind of off and on, but 20th in the league. That's not great. The PK, on the other hand, has climbed their way up to 4th right now. Things you'd like to see. So, pretty solid PK.
It's unreal. You'd think, with how well they play on the PK, you think they'd play that well, 5
wasn't
versus
that
5 in the defensive zone.
Oh, no. Wasn't that the saving fucking grace of last season?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was everybody was like, the power play sucks. They can't win a game. It was other, but for some reason, their penalty kill is amazing.
They should play the whole game on the penalty
kill.
Dude,
that's what I'm saying.
Just every 2 minutes, just keep taking, slashing penalties.
Yeah, eventually you're going to just, whittle the opposing team down to, 11 forwards. I don't know, 3 defensemen. But anyway, face-off wins, it's still the same, 10th. They've been 10th pretty much the entire season.
Which is fine.
Yeah, numbers really, hey, top 10 is always a good thing. Things really haven't changed on the goalie front that much. Hill's numbers, of course, remain the same because he hasn't played. Reimer, 284 goals against, 915 save percentage. Martin Jones, if you're listening, that's a place to look for. Reimer is 13-8-2. From the blue line, this week, kind of weak. Only a goal and an assist. But the thing is, and this is something that we tracked early on, blue line points, all the points that came from the blue line last season in 56 games, 93 points. Right now, the blue line has contributed 91 points in 11 games less. That's over 2 points per game. That's pretty decent. So, any changes to the module?
Yeah, a lot of changes, actually. So,
whoa,
I'm glad we got here quickly.
Yeah, we got changes?
So, what do you got there? Changes? So, Hertl, Meyer, Couture, that's still your top 3. It's been the top 3 pretty much since
the dawn
December
of
1st.
Time.
Yeah. So, we mentioned it last week. There's a couple things we mentioned here, so I'll bang them out real quick. So, first of all, Jonathan Dahlen was, despite Dahlen scoring 0 goals in 6 weeks, he was hanging out in the 4th spot. And as we mentioned last couple weeks, Erik Karlsson passed him. Well, 3 goals in the last 2 games. Dahlen has bumped back up into the 4th place position. And considering the guys beneath him, I think he's going to be hanging out for a while.
Hey, now. Well, hey, do me a favor. Vamp with your numbers. Finish it out. I want to hear a good amount of the module.
Yeah, sure. So also, Erik Karlsson, obviously, like I said, dropped down to 5th. Nick Bonino, with his 5 goals, all being high value, still hanging out in the 6th place. But, we talked about it before, specifically last week, Rudolph's Balcers. One of the things that AJ and I were saying is, Balcers is back from the COVID. He's back from the injury. If he's healthy and he can have the redemption tour that we're all hoping and wanting for him to have, he's going to be shooting up the list real quick. And so far, he has, he's jumped back up to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's jumped up to 7th position. With his play lately, he's been able to leapfrog Alexander Barabanov, leapfrog Brent Burns. He's leapfrogged Matt Nieto as well. So Balcers has shot up the module list just in the last, his last 4 games, which is obviously good to see. And specifically with Rudolph Balcers, and I think, this is kind of, I don't know, this is turning into the Rudolph Balcers show, but specifically, he's got 5 goals on the year now. 4 of them are high value goals. And that 5th goal is a mid value. So he's putting up some good ones, and I was just saying how, his 3 goals in the last 4 games, it's catapulted him above Barabanov, Burns, and Nieto. And if he can stay hot, like we talked about last week, he's going to catch Jonathan Dahlen in 4th place pretty soon. It's been fun because last season we started doing this like 75% of the way through the year. But also, so it's kind of fun to track it from the beginning. The one, not even a criticism or a complaint, but the one thing I wish I could do over is I wish that I would have taken note of like the top 5 or even just the positioning every time we do a podcast, just to see how it's changed, from week to week. Sure. Yeah, sure. And the last kind of thing I have too, uh, um, Noah. I mean, you want more from
Oh,
Noah Gregor, right?
you know what? I was muted. I'm sorry.
Wow.
That's my blunder. My blunder. But yeah, I'm interested to do to match up our modules because I have different parameters than you, and so next season you do yours, I'll do mine, and then the last game of the season, we'll compare cards and see how it works.
Yeah. Okay. I think, I don't know, especially with, like I said, with Dahlen and with Balcers getting hot, we saw some actual movement this week. The top 3 is still the top 3, but I don't know, man. Couture at 13, Dahlen at 11. Dahlen was in the top 3, like I said, until American Thanksgiving. Dahlen was in the top 3.
Yeah.
Could we see a return? Perchance.
A return? I think well, you know what? Depends on where Jam Job Bob goes.
Yeah, I know.
For all we know, dude, Balcers may overtake somebody if he's been given the opportunity to do things.
Right.
So anyway, coming up this week, or I should say, well, by the time we talk to you next Sunday, we're going to catch you up on one game. That's right, one game, remember, versus the Lightning after being embarrassed at SAP 7-1. Oy. But here's the good news. Somebody after this game is winning $5.
This is very true. This is it.
All comes down to the wire, baby.
I was going to say the universe hates me and wanted it to go to the end.
Versus like one of the best teams in the league that literally embarrassed the crap out of the Sharks like a week and a half ago.
Right, but you know what? Like I said, if the Sharks win against Tampa Bay, if they shut them out, that might be better than $5.
But right. Oh, a week and a half ago, fuck, dude, 8 days ago.
Still, regardless of what happens, the rest of the season, you're gonna have to secure a $5 bill to your mic stand there.
Oh, Dude, it's going to be taped here. It's going to be taped back on the monitor. Something. We will figure out a way to get this in there. We haven't done sounders in quite some time. Can I play a sound for you?
Sure. Okay.
There it is. Cracking a cold one, baby.
Yeah.
But our very own jerk, we're talking about the Lightning game.
Who?
Who? But our very own jerk is going to represent Teal Town, USA, rightly or wrongly, at the All-Star game.
Yeah, I still haven't decided.
So, Hockey Jerk will be at the All-Star game. I don't know if any of the local beat writers for the Sharks are going to make their way down to Sin City, but hey, we already got a guy there, so look forward to next weekend. Hopefully, Jerk will provide us a little video, some pictures, maybe an audio or two, but the Jerk Man going to be in the house.
I plan to. I'm gonna bring a printout of the module, and I'm gonna see how long I can explain it to Timo Meier before he gets disgusted and walks away.
Oh, dude. Absolutely.
I'm just gonna tell him, look, I know you don't know what this is, but you're in first place.
We dig it. You're in first, dude. So we'll see what Jerk's pretend credentials gets him into. I look forward to hearing about all the stories next Sunday for show 151. After that, though, we will be off the week after that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because
for those who missed it, I was going to say, for those who missed it in Discord, if the Sharks go more than 7 games, 7 days without a game,
it's in your contract.
AJ and I are not required to be on a podcast if they go more than 7 days without a game.
Exactly. So
it's in the contract.
And if something huge happens,
huge,
you can count on Ian and Puck Guy and everybody else. They will have a Teal Town Live to cover it for you. So there y'all. Let's do some quick hits here. This is a question I've been asking myself for like the last 3 weeks. Is Remenda back? Like permanent? And it feels like he was for a second. For some reason, the powers that be decided to put Hedeken on TV today, and you know, it's look, to start the season, Remenda was doing road games with the Sharks audio network. He did a couple stints here with Hahn very early on, but then it was boom, right back to Hedeken. Then over the last week or 2 weeks or so, Heddy got that Rona, and Remenda covered all those games. But starting with that Tampa blowout, which I was at that game, you told me they were running the what do you call it? The triple cast? The 3-man rotation?
Yes. So
since that game, so you had Tampa, you had Washington, you had Florida. So you had 3 straight games where Heddy, the Tampa game, the one at home, Heddy's doing the glass, but Washington and Florida, you got Remenda on the TV, and I'm sitting there going, yes, make this a thing. Yes. Make the guys who have won like 12 Bay Area Emmys a thing again. That would be great. But today, Hedeken. Now, I don't know if this is because they were back in Carolina and that's where Heddy won his cup. But the phrase that we've used a bajillion times, where it's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. No, I'm both mad and disappointed. Remenda is just better with Hahn. He brings out the best in Hahn. You look at social media, fans overwhelmingly want Remenda with Hahn. And that is not, it goes back to that whole stupid, idiotic thing where it's like you tweet, I love apples. And so 1,800 people come back to you. Oh, so grapes suck? Is that what you're saying? Do you are oranges the worst thing ever? No, I'm just saying I really like this thing. So it's not a slight on Hedeken. I'm not saying he's not good at what he does. I'm saying Remenda just far exceeds his performance. That's all. Heddy is very good. Remenda is just 10,000 times better. That's not a bad thing. Just give me my Drew and my Hahn. Please, I beg of you, on TV. That's all I want in this life. We're going to be talking with the Sharks soon, probably sometime this week, about their new ticket packages that they keep promoting on TV. That includes lower ticket prices, fewer pricing tiers, we'll see what else that entails. From what I've been hearing, dude, you're familiar with this. When they opened the BMW lounge, it was supposed to be like inclusive of the first 3 rows from the glass, was it not?
Yeah, that was more or less the area it included.
Yeah, there's like a section or two that were kind of like they really didn't have access to the club level, but for the vast majority of SAP, that's what it was. From what I'm hearing, if you go to like Ticketmaster, it's gone down to the first 2 rows, and in some areas maybe just the first row.
Wow.
So yeah, the pricing tiers seem to be contracting a little bit, but these are the types of things that happen when your barn that holds 17.5 is averaging barely 12. You know, this is how supply and demand works, people. So we'll be talking to them about what the new offerings are.
Well, and I just think, I've gotten to do the BMW lounge experience. It's very cool. Not for the price, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what I look at it as is like a Disneyland or a Great America, where it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, I'll shell out for this once a year just to see if anything's different. And it's like, oh, here's the one little thing that's different. Okay, cool. And then that's it, and you go back and do your regular thing. Like this is, you know, that you're going to be very hard pressed to find that, oh, they got me, I'm hooked. You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's let's hit a couple quick comments here in the chat. Puck Guy, of course, wants the return of Shark Bite. Who doesn't?
Yeah, great show.
I mean, good Lord. Like a Tiger. Cheaper beer? Yeah, I think we all want that, and that's something I will be asking about. It's like, hey, if you're going to lower these ticket prices, maybe we drop the parking price during the week, $5 or something. Instead of 25, it's 20, maybe, or I don't know, some sort of percentage off on concessions, you know, food and bev. I don't know, something. I'm just wondering. And man, where the hell did all these comments come from? It's like you bring up attendance or Remenda, and all of a sudden everybody has something to say. So Chris, who? Chris? I remember this guy. I know it's bad for attendance to have a rebuild, but it's also bad for attendance to be bad year after year. I feel like that is something that Jerk and I have been talking about for the last year after year.
Makes you think.
But yes, we shall embrace the full Remenda. Fuck rebuilds. Give me Remenda. The Sharks are going to be selling their teal totes again. I'm just going to say, if you get the opportunity to go look at those jerseys that they're going to be showing off February 1st, so like 3 days from now, they look a little inspired. I'm not taking credit for anything, but inspiration invokes a little deja vu. That's what I'm saying. And for some reason, the Sharks are still selling the Uprising giveaway jerseys. I don't understand, but whatever. Just something of note. So, again, I'm not like passing judge. Well, I kind of am. I think it's a bad look, to be honest with you. Like you're selling something for $50 that was supposed to be a giveaway. Like I get it if it goes to charity, but Anyway, let's have some fun around the NHL. Do we have the graphic for that? No, I misplaced it. Oh well, what a show! Oh no. Anyway, Kane signed his deal with the Oilers. Gets a full no move. I mean, why? Who the fuck else wants this guy? Seriously.
Well, apparently, they were saying on 32 Thoughts, apparently a handful of teams all checked in, so there were at least a bunch of teams who were curious.
Still, though, the whole idea of the no move, I just thought, it's like, dude, aren't you supposed to be, like, on your best behavior? Like, you're literally playing contract to contract at this point. Like, is there any team that you can imagine, even if Chief, how many games do the Oilers have left? Like 45? Somewhere in there?
They have 42.
Okay. Even if Chief, so just barely over half of a full season, right? Mm-hmm. So if Chief, and what are we? What did Kane posted last year? Like just under 30. It was 29 goals and like 50 something points.
Last year he had 22 goals, 27 assists, 49 points in 56 games.
Okay, I knew there was a 9 in there somewhere. So 22 goals in 56 games. So okay, say Chief posts 20 goals, and 25 assists over 42 games. Not too shabby. Better than a point per game. Is there any team that's going to come in and go, hey, you know what? Let's try that whole 7-year at $7 million thing. Like, it's like based on your history, it's like, can you play hockey very well? Yes. Do you have problems after a couple years? Yes. So, like, is there any hockey team that's going to give this guy more than 2 years? Like, I almost feel like the entire other 31 GMs need to collude and just be like, yeah, don't give him more than 2 years.
I don't know. I think the idea is that he's going to be using this tour with Edmonton as a launch pad into another contract. At least we know it won't be with the Sharks.
Tell me it's with Arizona. I beg of you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I like how Ian said the NMC stands for no morals clause.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say? I put like no more COVID, something, no McDavid criticism. Like the NMC could stand for a lot of things. But the weird thing is that so he does that big interview, like an hour-long interview on TSN. Man, did I have a lot of questions, man. He said he was fully vaxxed before camp. So where the hell did the whole fake vax card come in?
Well, he still could have submitted that earlier.
All right. The other thing, it was funny how the Sharks and Cuda were, well, I shouldn't say the Sharks, but the Barracuda, what you heard from Roy Sommer, guy or two, like maybe Merkley, I think was one of them. We're talking about how great he was. Dude, it was a fucking month ago. And man, it just seems like nobody wants to tell the truth, whether it's Kane, whether it's the guys for the Cuda, the Sharks, or whatever. And then part of it is he's not sure who the guy is who leaked the shit about the Rocky Thompson, or not Rocky. It was Rocky Thompson, right? The guy who like comes in without a shirt challenging to a fight.
Right.
And he said, I'm not sure who leaked it, but said there was only a handful of guys he didn't get along with. And it's like, bro, only a handful of guys make up the hockey team. And Hurdle and Couture, last I looked, part of the power play group, and neither of them were saying. Couture said, dude, I was injured at that point. I wasn't part of the team. So it's like, okay, he gets a pass. But Hurdle was like, I don't remember. I'm just focused on next game. And for someone who claims to be so optimistic, as Kane does, most of the comments were about him bringing the room down. And I go back to the fact that not a single Shark stepped up to defend him. Now, that being said, Evander Kane recently, I think between now and yesterday, last night, after the game with the Oilers, he posted a photo of himself playing for the Oilers on Instagram. He hadn't posted on Instagram in like, 4 months. He posted a shot last night of all the Sharks to give him a like. It was Mario Ferraro. Last I looked, Mario Ferraro, not a big part of the power play group, so I don't think he was in on the meeting. But either way, it seems pretty telling when the silence is deafening. Like, there has to be a reason why an offensively challenged Sharks team did not want their leading goal and point scorer back. But that's just me. Like, saying, well, here's 2 and here's 2. I think 4 might be around here somewhere. Was that just me?
No, I think you're right. Like, it's, like you said, given the circumstances, right? The Sharks are starved for goals and they don't want their best player from last year. Like, it's pretty telling.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. Oh, and let me hit up of course, we're going to get the questions in the chat, which we always try to hit when we can. AJ, are they selling Uprising jersey or Schurzy? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's my bad. It's the Schurzy. It's the one that was supposed to be the giveaway at the what was it? It was a March 21st game before everything got shut down. So finally, with the Kane stuff, I just remember him on the interview with TSN. He said, "I'm a very selfless person." Fine, but we've seen your Instagram. It's public. Have you looked at Kane's Instagram? It is very much him and only him. Him getting out of a nice car, him, wearing very nice clothes. It's very Kane specific. Whereas if you look at a Tomas Hertl or a Joe Pavelski, it's very family oriented, or there's multiple guys in there where it's like Hurdle getting dressed next to Brendan Dillon and somebody like it's very team oriented, is very family oriented. It doesn't scream look at me. So whatever. It is what it is. I don't know. Just Evander Kane. I think what we can all agree on is buy. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Okay, so the Arizona Coyotes are working on a deal, evidently, to play at a 5,000-seat arena at Arizona State. If this were to happen, they'd actually have to take away seats because that's the only way they could build dressing rooms for pro hockey teams, because there's some sort of weird NCAA rule about sharing locker rooms or something. I don't know. The team is looking for a new home because the deal with the Glendale arena is set to expire. I have a couple questions here. What if you have more than 5,000 season ticket holders?
I doubt that's the case.
I doubt that's the case, but still, going to be pretty tight. My whole thing is this Bettman's ego just not being able to cancel the check? Like, just move them to fucking Houston already. It's not work. They have been trying to make hockey work in Arizona for 25 years. It's not working.
Well, and they said, they were talking about this on 32 Thoughts, and they kind of said you've seen it around in other situations, right? Like Quebec, Winnipeg, Hartford, Atlanta, where it's like, it takes a very long time and a lot of stuff to happen for Gary Bettman to get to the end of his rope, right? But
25 years apparently.
Right. And I mean, obviously we've talked about before, like Gary Bettman, he doesn't own the Coyotes. He can't force them to move anywhere. That said, I do agree with you that it is not working in Arizona, and I by no means do I want to take credit for this idea. It did come from 32 Thoughts, but I think it makes a lot of sense because Gary, he doesn't want to outright, he doesn't want the team to be sold to somebody who moves them, because you don't
Why?
Because from the NHL's perspective, you don't make money that way. You don't make money.
You're not going to make money off of like new swag.
Well, so hold on. So let me finish. You don't. They want.
Are you not there yet?
The NHL wants an expansion fee. They like the guarantee of an expansion fee. So what they talked about on 32 Thoughts as a potential idea that apparently people have talked about. What if the NHL buys the Coyotes?
Oh, Jesus.
And then auctions them off to somebody.
On
and
eBay? On eBay. Tell me it's on eBay.
There is precedence for this because the Major League Baseball, they did this with the Montreal Expos. And,
Jesus.
And so it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The NHL can auction auction a franchise, and then whoever wins the auction can do whatever the hell they want with them. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. The NHL, they get what would be an expansion fee, but also the team is out of Arizona. And, that's an idea they said on 32 Thoughts, and I like that idea.
Hockey gods, if you're listening, please make this a reality.
Yeah.
So I don't fucking care. Kansas City, Houston, Cleveland. It's like Arizona. What do they have? Do they have pro basketball? Yeah. They have pro football? Yeah. They got pro baseball? Yeah. So does Cleveland. So does Houston. Let's just make it happen, Captain. Get this team the fuck out of Arizona. Like, they're already in the Central Division. Just trip the wire already. And to make matters worse, here's our tweet of the week, everybody. I thought this was great. Clearly a Photoshop doesn't make it any less funnier. But the Arizona Coyotes verified account. We are currently working on a deal to play our home games in an abandoned Home Depot near Tempe. Love it. I don't know who put that together. Thank you. Appreciate it. Always love the humor. So, because at this point, I'm starting to feel like the Coyotes are the Athletics of the NHL. Like, they're just going to be the shitty team that plays in the shitty barn. They might get a piece of talent here or there, and then eventually it just goes away, and they never play. Who's the hot commodity right now, Chikrin?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Are they going to dump
on Arizona specifically?
Yeah. Is Kessel going somewhere?
Well, yeah, Kessel. I mean, yeah, that's kind of. everybody's expecting that to happen, just because of who he is, his contract status, all that kind of stuff. But,
and where the team is.
right. But no, Chychrun is Chychrun's kind of the big kahuna right now.
Oh, man. What do you think he returns?
Oh, dude, it's gonna be crazy. I think they said.
Are the Coyotes looking for anything but picks?
No, I think they said 2 first-round picks and an A prospect at least.
You think they'll get it?
Absolutely. Jacob Chychrun he's very underrated defenseman, and I think he'll win a Norris Trophy someday.
Well, speaking of the Coyotes, they were just one of the many targets of Brad Marchand on social media. What do you think about Brad Marchand's social media?
I think it's good.
I think it's fantastic. Dude is giving no fucks. What was he saying? Some shit about escrow?
Yeah, I said the Hurricanes were the reason that the players have to pay so much in escrow.
Dude, I'm not a fan. I kind of fall down the line of most people where I'm like, this guy's kind of a rat. He's kind of a jerk off. I love his social media.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that he picked a fight with Andy Man, or I shouldn't say picked a fight. Andy kind of picked a fight with it, tried to troll him, but Marchand responded. I thought that was great. So, a couple more here. Did you see that someone got a life-size tattoo of Josh Norris's face on it? Former Shark Josh Norris, his face on his torso, only in exchange for a signed jersey. So I have a couple questions. First, could you not have purchased a signed jersey for the same or lower price? Because last I looked, tattoos are kind of expensive. Second
Especially
question,
one that big.
right? And are you trying to say the guy's fat? Okay. No, I get it. It's life size. I get it. But have we confirmed that this isn't you?
It's not me. I had to confirm that myself. It's not
You
me.
had to lift your shirt up and look in the mirror and go, okay, yeah, it's not me.
Yeah.
Dude, who does this? This is so weird.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know how this guy thinks he came out ahead here, because like you said,
That's what I'm saying.
like a jersey would be cheaper than the tattoo, unless he has a buddy who did it for free.
No, he evidently was I don't know where he was. He was out of the country, or he was reading the story. He was not where he usually is, and it was all of a sudden Norris got back to him and said, prove it, show me. And he was in, I don't know, Paris or Mazatlan or some fucking, foreign country, and it was found a tattoo artist to do it. Whatever. So let's cover this real quick because, hey, the Michigan, it's just fun.
A matter of time, John. But man, oh man, has this kid got some hands. That is something. Look at that. That is, you know what? And even though this is on, a matter of time, John. But man, oh man, has this kid got some hands. That is something. Look at that. That is, you know what? And even though this is on,
Oh my God. So, dude, the Michigan. First off, how do you defend that?
You probably are going to end up taking a slashing penalty.
In the face. Do you think at some point the NHL? Because I know John Scott mentioned this. He's he thinks that the NHL is going to come. There's going to be a meeting of a rules committee, and so next season they're going to be yeah, you can't do that.
I don't think so. Just because the NHL social media is on the hype train, I can't imagine they would turn around and not be into it.
Yeah, but we're talking about the same NHL that got rid of the whole voting mechanism once John Scott got voted in because they hate fun.
I don't know about that, but all right.
I don't know. I feel like the NHL hates fun, and they'll be yeah, we can't have this. There's, there are people like Tortorella, of course. Who was the guy? Adam Oates, that jumped all over Hurdle because he dared try to score a flamboyant goal. Ugh. Finally, MGK was named the entertainment headliner for the All-Star game in the NHL. I don't know if we're going to get the rapper, the power pop guy. Does anyone care? A lot of this is all paid for. The record labels will pay for their artists. to get this type of publicity because they're promoting a new album or whatever. But all I'm saying is, who's doing the Super Bowl? Eminem and Dr. Dre, like 5 like platinum selling artists, and the NHL gets MGK. Do you even know who MGK is, jerk?
I've heard of him. I can't tell you any of his songs, but
And you know what? You're probably better for that.
Right, and like this shouldn't come as a surprise. The NHL regularly fails at picking, musical guests. They've every so often they've done well, but for the most part they fail.
Who was the entertainment for any of the last 3 All-Star games? Because I don't, the one at San Jose, I don't remember.
2020 was Green Day, which was cool.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that, but it seems like, shouldn't have Green Day been 2019?
Yeah. 2019 I want to say was BB Rexa, I believe, who I have no clue who that is. I don't even know if he or she or they are from the Bay Area at all. No clue. So I don't. I'll be totally honest with you though, dude. I don't care. Like I'm not going to be listening anyway.
No, I feel you. And and Ian saying Super Bowl a little bit bigger than an All-Star game for the NHL. No, I get that, but it just seemed like a really interesting choice because it's like, how many groups right now have residencies? Like I think Katy Perry is currently doing a residency for Vegas.
Katy Perry, Adele, Gwen Stefani.
All 3 of those names that you just named, way bigger than MGK.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that all 3 of them or any of the 3 would appeal to the NHL audience, but Jesus, at least you've heard of them.
Or not even that, but dude, check it out. So Panic at the Disco and Imagine Dragons are two good bands, I would say, but 2 bands that are from Las Vegas and have previously worked with the NHL.
There you go. Oh, I have one final question for you before we move on to the dark horses.
Can we? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're trying to keep it along. Crap! You reminded me for a second, and then the thought lost me. Oh, now I'm mad. Let's just go to the dark horses then. So, Jerks Canucks, 19-19-6, 44 points, 7th in the pack, 13 left versus their division. Not looking too good for you, my homie.
Give it time.
All right. My Kings, and when I say my Kings, that's in, under the umbrella of dark horses, 23-16-7. They are on the come up. 53 points, 3rd in the division. Hell, they might be 2nd. I haven't looked, but
they are 3rd.
They're 3rd, but they are 2 points from
1 point
from leading the division.
1 point from 2nd, 2 points from leading.
There you go. And they have 17 left against the division. So, I'm just saying. The Ian shaves his head bet. It's not looking great. 4 starts from the.
It's not looking great for Martin Jones. It's looking great for Ian.
Yeah, looking fantastic. Well, I should say it's looking great for Ian. It's not looking great for any of us who wanted to see that. Save percentage is at .901, which last I looked is about 14 off of where he needs to be. He's going to hit the 20-game threshold. He's only 4 away. I think you could make the argument that Ian, it wasn't that he foresaw that Martin Jones was really going to suck. It's that he foresaw that the Flyers were really going to suck. Because even Carter Hart, not doing well.
Yeah, the Flyers have been
ass.
There's so much stink around that team. Like it's and Comcast, who owns the Flyers, they did a whole press conference yesterday, and it sounds like they're gonna do a very quick and aggressive retool. So we'll see.
You think Giroux is gone?
Yeah, 100%.
But before the deadline?
Yeah, or at the deadline. Money is on the Avalanche.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy, we could have some things to discuss. I can't wait for trade deadline at this point, to be honest with you. So, look, the bet comes down to Tuesday between Jerk and I. Again, what's your confidence level? Like 20-80?
I would say 50-50.
Bullshit. After the Sharks got shellacked 7-1 8 days ago? Really? And it's going to be in Tampa?
Yeah, but they beat Washington, good team. They played well against Florida and Carolina, good teams. Like
they got shut up by Washington too.
So
I don't know.
every game is a new game.
It's a new game. All right.
Like
So you're
the
saying
game,
50-50. Okay.
the 7-1.
Can we bet on the 50-50 odds, sir?
The 7-1 loss against Tampa Bay has nothing to do with Tuesday's game.
That is correct, but I'm just going by trends.
Sure.
Just saying. Ian commenting, it's looking for fantastic for Ian and his marriage.
Talking about the hair bet. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Chris saying, no forcing needed. Jones's ass.
Yep.
I think we can all agree. Aaron Dell did clear waivers,
Not surprised.
and nobody cares. So, do us a favor. We covered everything. Oh, wait. Let's just throw it up there because, well, it's just fun. It's not going to be one of these days for a while. I think it's going to be more one of these days when it comes to talking about Erik Karlsson. But any hoodles, hey, do us a favor. Make sure to check out our latest one-on-ones. We talked to Matt Sakaris not too long ago. Of course, we always talk to our buddy Drew Remenda. You can find those on our YouTube channel. Like I said, we will be talking to the Sharks front office very soon about what their plans are for next season when it comes to ticket prices and more. So check those out. Remember to follow us on our social media channels, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, what have you. And again, we appreciate those super chat donations, and we also love those tip jar donations on Venmo. So you can find him at hockey_jerk on the Twitter. You can find me at AJ_strong. Don't forget the Discord channel. Chat never stops there. So if you were not able to join us during this live broadcast on the YouTube, leave a comment below. We'd certainly appreciate it. And Ian will answer all and everyone. Because Ian Reed loves that. He loves the back and forth, and that's what I dig about Ian. So, famous last words, Mr. Hockey Jerk.
Famous last words. There are two things.
Two.
I'm excited for.
Two.
Two things I'm excited for in the month of February.
Valentine's
Number
Day.
one is the All-Star break. Obviously, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Valentine's Day.
Number two, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games in the month of February. I'm excited for Rudolph Balcers to score 8 goals.
Nothing about Valentine's Day, return of Evander Kane, none of that.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Okay. I think we do need to get to this before we leave because I think we'd be done. If I get a tattoo of AJ on my stomach, can I get a signed AJ jersey? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you have to provide the proof. Any of my custom jerseys that I've done, my custom warm-ups, yeah. Let me give you the face so the tattoo artist has something to go by. There you go. You get that life size. I will come down to the tattoo artist with you and pose. How's that?
I'm nervous that Shaka is actually going to do it.
So, hey, remember to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on the social. If you listen to us on a podcast platform such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, whatever, help us out. Do us a favor. Throw us a subscribe. Maybe leave us a nice little review. We would certainly appreciate it. Helps push us up in the algorithm, make sure other people can find us. You can find links to all of our social media, the podcast apps, all of that in the descriptions below, and find everything on tealtownusa.com. So remember to check out After Dark. It's the post-game show that follows every single Sharks game. The next one, of course, coming up following Tampa Bay and San Jose. That's our show. We thank you very much for watching or listening. We'll see you next week for episode 151. Good night, everybody.